Thank you, President. This week, my question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Trade, Senator Payne. This week, 5 health experts from the Centre for Health Equity Training Research and Evaluation at the University of New South Wales published a report on the impact of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement on medicine prices. Their expert analysis of the leaked chapter of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement says the TPP will lead to a rise in medicine prices in Australia. Minister, specifically, will you rule out that Australia is prepared, as part of the TPP negotiations, to extend the time taken for medicines to become generics, or that cutting-edge medicines like biologics will have their data and market exclusivity period extended?
The Minister for Human Services representing the Minister for Trade, Senator Payne.
Thank you very much, Mr President. The Minister for Trade has made it quite clear what his view is of the supposed leaked documents, and has said they are basically just another beat-up, Mr President. He's made it very clear repeatedly that the government is not going to support outcomes that would increase the price of medicines for Australians or adversely affect our health system more generally. End of story, and that's a quote. Nor would we accept outcomes that undermine our ability to regulate or legislate in the public interest in areas such as health. What the Minister has indicated, and what has been the subject of, as I understand it, over 1,000 public consultations held by the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade in the development of the TPP, is that it has transformational promise with the potential to help drive growth, jobs and higher living standards for Australians. The key focus of our involvement is to materially advance—
Point of order, Senator Whish-Wilson.
Order on relevance. I very specifically ask the Minister, President, is Australia prepared to extend the time taken for medicines to become generics, or that medicines like biologics will have their data and market exclusivity period extended?
Yeah. Thank you, Senator Whish-Wilson. You did preface your question, and the question related to a leaked document. The Minister answered that very directly up front, and then she also categorically ruled out some of the issues concerning the prices. The Minister still has a minute left to answer a question, but I think she's been directly relevant. Minister.
Thank you, Mr President, and in fact I have nothing further to add.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Whish-Wilson, a supplementary question.
Last week in estimates, Treasury said they didn't model the impact of your government's trade deals on GDP. When I asked DFAT about this, also at estimates, they said, from an economy-wide GDP modelling perspective, the parameters would not be significant enough to alter Treasury forecasting. Last year, the US Department of Agriculture released a study of the TPP and said that the total benefit to Australian GDP from the TPP is zero. Why are we pursuing these trade deals if the overall economic benefit is zero, zilch, nada?
Time has expired, Senator Whish-Wilson. Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr President. Let me repeat what I said in my first answer, and that is that the Minister for Trade has made it quite clear that this Trans-Pacific Partnership has transformational promise with the potential to help drive growth, jobs and higher living standards. Our focus of our involvement is to materially advance Australia's interests in a negotiation which involves 12 countries, which represent 40% of global GDP. That's the important thing that the Australian government is pursuing, Mr President.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Whish-Wilson, final supplementary question.
Thank you, President. It was reported this week that the Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry submitted the government stop the secrecy around trade deals like the TPP. They wanted negotiations to be monitored in real time by the Productivity Commission and wanted draft text disclosed to registered community and business organisations, such as happens in the US. If even business in Australia wants to end the secrecy around the TPP, why won't you release a text, or do you have something to hide?
Minister.
It's probably because nothing happens.
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr President. Look, I think that I can understand that Senator Whish-Wilson might not really be particularly familiar with the standard practice of negotiations of international treaties. But as is standard practice, the draft negotiating texts of the TPP, which involve 12 countries, are not in fact public documents. Once the TPP text is agreed between the parties, it will be made public. It will be subject to public and parliamentary scrutiny through a review by the Joint Standing Committee on Treaties. In accordance with the government's treaty-making process, the TPP will be tabled in Parliament for 20 joint sitting days to facilitate public consultations and scrutiny by the JSCOT. The agreement will not be ratified by the Australian government until this has taken place. And as part of JSCOT's review of the proposed agreement, the committee invites public submissions. It takes evidence at public hearings. Mr President, the government continues to take all available opportunities to engage with stakeholders and to meet with interested groups.
Thank you, Minister. The time for answering the question